Jacobin 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Kenny J's Barbecue will be live with Hanson, Scotty G coming up today from noon to 3. Check out the catering menu at kennyjsbarbecue.com for your next event. Kenny J's is going to be here for our company event this afternoon. Is that where Hanson and Scotty are?
Company BBQ today.
So they're going to be down there?
Yeah, great.
Yeah. No. It's here. That's why I'm saying down there, meaning like
outside tryout center.
Yeah, right. Well, that stinks for us because we've got to record a spot after the show, and that means the food's going to be gone.
Well, it starts at 11, so it starts right now. So
we're
already
toast.
coming an hour late.
We're not going to get anything.
Have great food. It goes until 2 o'clock.
I know, that's my point.
It goes until 2.
You think somebody the stature of Hans Olsen is going to let that quality of food sit out there uneaten?
Barbecue, it's a slow cook, right? So the longer we wait, the better it's going to taste.
I've told you my story about Hans and the bottomless pasta, right? Went to a business meeting with Hans at the OG, and they had their bottomless pasta going. And the lady, Hans ordered his next one when his first one arrived, but he ordered like 2. He's like, have 2 more on deck for me. And the gal kind of laughed. And he said, no, I'm serious.
I'm not messing around.
By the way, some of that Italian sausage out here would be nice, too. And I think he creamed through like 4 portions. And the server was just like, wow. And this was right after Hans stopped playing because Hans, like, really manages his diet and that sort of thing. Like, but if you've seen former players that when they stop playing, they still have a diet like they were playing. And then all of a sudden, but Hans could put away some food, I tell you. Because the OG, how often do you think anybody even comes back for a second portion of the bottomless?
Yeah, you might get a second, maybe, and like with the idea that you're going to take it home.
What percentage of the population gets to number 3?
Truly less than 1%.
But anyway, the server's attitude about it was the funny part. She was like, sure you will. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, I'm serious. I need that. You need to have that ready to go. We're going to talk Green Bay Packers football, specifically Jordan Love, coming up here momentarily. I'm excited to see what Jordan Love does this season. That guy is an easy dude to root for.
I agree. Are you fully bought in on him?
I mean, I got to say, yeah. I mean, what did define fully bought in? Is he a good starting quarterback in the NFL? Yeah, I feel pretty comfortable about that. Let's ask Tom about it, shall we? Let's get out to the zone phone. He covers the Packers for the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. He's Tom Silverstein with us here on the Jake and Ben Show. What's going on, Tom?
Hey, Tom.
Hey, how you doing?
We're doing well, and let's lead off with Jordan Love, obviously, with the local ties here, but he's entering his 3rd year as the starter, his 5th year overall. Is there full confidence that he is a high-level starting quarterback for the Packers going forward? Like, is it? I know he's signed, and I know he's going to be the guy, but is there a belief that he can get them to the promised land?
Well, there is in the organization, that's for sure. I mean, you don't pay a guy like that if you don't think he can. And, there's also patience involved because, they know that, given where he came from, system he played in, it was going to take some time. So I think organizationally, yes. Maybe on the outside, there's still doubts about, whether he is that guy. Really, it comes down to this year and performing on the field. That's all it's going to come down to is he's going to show, I think, this year who he is.
What have been your impressions of Jordan covering him now?
I would say, my immediate impression from training camp this year is that he's healthy. He, the knee injury did affect his mobility. It affected the way he threw the ball. And you can just see now that he's more of the guy you kind of saw in 2023, just from a health standpoint, from a movement standpoint. There's still areas of his game that need work, but the number one thing was that he looks like the guy he was. Like, he's healthy and ready to play.
Obviously, I think last year the division was one of the most surprising in the NFC North. The Lions, as good as they were, the Vikings shocked everyone with their performance. What's the expectation for the Packers and where they fit into the division?
Yeah, it's going to be a dogfight again. And, the Lions, until someone knocks off the Lions, they are the kings of the hill. And that's Green Bay's charge, is to figure out a way to get past them. And they haven't been able to beat them. I think they've lost 3 of the last 4 games against them. And, Detroit is a big physical team, and that they beat you down. And the Packers have made efforts in the offseason to try to become a more physical team so that they can compete with the likes of Detroit and Philadelphia. I mean, I think those are the 2 teams that they view they have to get past. And, really they haven't been able to stand up to that physical level of play. And I think that's what they're trying to do now.
As a, overall NFL fan, not covering the Packers obviously day to day, I've always considered the Packers amongst the elite when it comes to well-run organizations. Would you agree with that? And is that still true if it once was?
Yeah, I mean, it is in some degree, and then in others you can say, well, why haven't they won more Super Bowls with all the great quarterbacks they've had and all the great quarterbacking they've had? Have they been elite in building around those guys? I think of late they've been drafting really well. They've been signing the players they need to sign. They don't lose anybody in free agency because they can't afford it. It's just, can they build a team that's complete, and can they win a Super Bowl? That's the measure here. And they haven't won one since almost, it's been 15 years. So that's really the measuring stick for how elite they are. But they are one of the top. Yeah, you'd have to say that. They're continually in the playoffs.
What's the expectation for Chris Brooks? I know he played a small role last year, but coming out of BYU is now stuck for a couple of seasons and did stick with the Packers last season. Does he have a chance to make the roster this year?
He's got a chance. Yeah, he came in and gave them a nice physical presence. He was, and as the season went on, he kind of carved out a role on special teams and in the backfield. Big physical guy, really good in pass protection. They like that. They like to have that in third down. There's some competition at the running back position. Of course, Josh Jacobs is number 1, number 2, and number 3, option. But I think Brooks has a chance. They have another guy, Emmanuel Wilson, who's probably more gifted runner, and kind of depends whether they decide to go with 2 or 3 running backs.
Covering the Jazz, we've had some interesting stories of players leaving and their relationship with the fan base after leaving. Gordon Hayward, very much not popular around here, but Darren Williams left controversially and is now kind of mended fences, very popular with the fan base again. So my question is, what is Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers' legacy and relationship with the fans like currently?
That's a good question. Favre kind of repaired his relationship after he retired and came back and had his number retired. Since then, some of the stuff he's done down in Mississippi hasn't sat well with people up here. The scandal with taking money that was supposed to go to lower income people to help build a volleyball stadium, and he was involved in that. And I think that's tarnished his reputation a little bit. But I think from a fan standpoint, he is he's still, revered as the guy who turned the franchise around in the 90s. Rodgers, that relationship's complicated, just like he is. And I think people appreciated what he added, but they also are so glad not to have the drama anymore. And I think that's kind of why they've gotten behind Jordan Love, because he's drama-free. And they don't have to worry about, what everything that Rodgers is saying about whatever. It's just there's a lot of stress. There was a lot of stress in the organization when he was here, and I think a lot of that is gone. And I think when he's put in the Hall of Fame, he'll be welcome back, no question. But I think people are tired of him.
Ben and I have the Pat McAfee show going on mute in the background here in our studio, and we saw Aaron Rodgers on there earlier. I'm sure everybody at that organization's blood pressure rose during that whatever time he was on there every week. I'm sure they don't miss that, really.
Oh, yeah, and from a media standpoint, I mean, we had to watch, see what he was going to say every week.
I'm sure it was awful.
It was like pulling hair, and you just you waited, and you got like fatigue, Aaron Rodgers fatigue, and I think that's what happened here too, and I think it happened in the organization as well, which is why they finally parted ways with him. They could have kept going, but they just decided they had enough, and they had drafted Jordan Love, and they were going to roll with him, and I think it was the right decision. I think you have to make that decision at some point, and I don't think they're completely wrong about Jordan Love. I just think they need to see him take that next step.
Well, there are a lot of people here in Utah cheering for just that. So, Tom, thank you for jumping on with us and giving us a little insight. Appreciate it, and enjoy the upcoming season.
You're very welcome. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Tom. That's Tom Silverstein. Sorry, double clutch there. Silverstein, who covers the Packers for the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel.
We talked a lot about how difficult the position that Jordan Love was put in just to get that job and to take the starting job and have to replace a Hall of Famer, who he himself replaced a Hall of Famer, and how good Jordan Love's first year was. Part of it, and look, he was excellent on the field, especially late in the season. Early in the season, he had some rough throws and seemed to figure it out for that playoff run going into Dallas and winning that playoff game. It was huge. Some of the willingness to wrap their arms around him had to be that he was not Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, yeah.
That the drama was gone. That, yes, and I've done it. I've aggregated enough. I've covered enough TV interviews with local people. I mean, the Donovan Mitchell stuff I've certainly done plenty of. Like, okay, you're going to be on TV. Let's see what you say. Or Rudy Gobert's going to be on TV. Let's see what they say about the Donovan Mitchell relationship, even though I've asked you about it 50 times. Like, let's see what you say on national TV, and I've probably got to write about it. It's not the most enjoyable part of the job. And Aaron Rodgers going on McAfee every week and always saying something ludicrous, my sympathies go out to Tom.
You remember when he put his foot on the table?
No, I don't. I do remember when he came out and said Jimmy Kimmel was on the Epstein list. I do remember that. Can you imagine being a Packers exec and being like, you would just, I don't even know what time he comes on.
Can you imagine being Tom, who, Tom, clearly a bit of an old school reporter, being like, Packers quarterback accuses late night host of going to Epstein Island. This is what I'm writing?
This is what I'm doing today. I just watched this guy's armpits on TV, and now I got to write about it.
Okay.
Now I got to talk about Jimmy Kimmel being on the Epstein list. Okay. I'm sure that's a funny visual, actually, Tom. Yeah. I don't know what Tom looks like, but I'm picturing, old school reporter.
Pulls
you know
out
what
the
I mean? And
typewriter.
being like, oh, yeah, what am I doing? How did my life bring me here? And you know what? I didn't know Jordan Love well when he was here. Interacted with him a couple times, but Scotty knew him pretty well.
Yep.
And kind of a square. I know he's got doesn't he have like a Snap Talk famous wife or something?
I'm not sure. Maybe. You know what?
But
that's what you want your quarterback to be.
But aside from that, like he's kind of a square guy. He's kind of a normal person, and I'm sure coming off Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre for that matter, I'm sure that franchise doesn't hate having kind of a normal, boring. And I say boring, it sounds insulting. He's a cool dude. He had charisma. I'm not saying he's Tim Duncan where he has no personality, but like he's not doing ayahuasca in South America or whatever.
Guess what? There's nothing wrong with having Tim Duncan. In fact, you want Tim Duncan, right? If you're an executive, you run a team, and this guy's got to be the face and the leader. Great. Mahomes can appear in State Farm ads, but he's a dweeb.
He's pretty boring.
He's a dork.
Yeah.
You know what? Josh Allen's a dork. And yeah, he's married to somebody famous, and he's more handsome now than he was when he got in the NFL because he got all this money. He's a dork. Brady's a dork. You know? The best... Peyton Manning's a dork. He's funny.
You know what my theory on Brady is? I think he's dumb.
Yeah, he might be.
If you like listen or watch Tom Brady, like what's the best? Oh, where in The Office, the new HR woman gets hired, and somebody tells her that Kevin is mentally challenged, and then she sees everything through that lens and just believes it.
Right.
She like talks to him really slow. She's like, "You can drive? They let you drive?"
But if you process all the Tom Brady stuff through the lens of like he's really struggling in the intelligence department, it really starts to like make a lot more sense.
And there is a huge difference, and I've had this explained to me, between football smart and human smart.
Yeah, right.
And that's not a knock. There are very smart football players, you know. But you can be a true genius on the football field and not be a genius off the field. LeBron is a true genius on the basketball court. And I think, as we've learned, is probably not that off the court.
Off the court, he's faking reading biographies to appear smart.
Right. But not smart enough to even go to page 15.
To read the biography.
Yeah, he just gets to page 1. Every time, page 1. Huh.
All right, What You Got Wednesdays coming up next. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.